Hello, my friends, and welcome. My name is Dennis, and as you probably know, I'm the airline pilot. I'm here in Ukraine in one of the villages. So far, everything is good for me. At least I'm safe, and I cannot fly right now because the airspace is closed over Ukraine for civilian airplanes, and no one is flying here except of the military. So I have no job and I don't know when I'm gonna fly again. Hopefully very soon, but I will keep you updated with everything that is happening in my life and here as well. In this video, I'll tell you about the recent update of the situation here and in the world, and also I'll tell you the story how I became the pilot from the very beginning. Today is the 18th day of Russian aggression against Ukraine, the 18th day of the war that is happening mostly on the north part of Ukraine, south part, east part, but recently, this night, there was an attack on camps, on the drill camps that are situated near to the Poland border, just 20 miles away from the Poland border. And my friends, some of the people died there. Russia launched around 20 missiles there were facilities were devastated there, and terrible that our people continue to lose their lives. The hardest point nowadays is in Mariupol, where around 300,000 civilians are trapped inside the city that continuously bombed by Russian troops. And yes, they didn't take that city, but we have disasters. We have no electricity, no any food, no any water there. So just imagine how people just starve with their kids, women, children, everyone, elderly, man. It's a hell on earth there. And even Pope of Rome today, he asked Putin to stop this invasion and to free Mariupol, to free the way out from the Mariupol. I have, in last video I told you that I have a friend there in Mariupol and I lost the connection. Everything is terrible. The last time I was speaking with him was 3 days ago. Oh no, it was like 4 days ago. And I heard even the bombshells on the background, and I was speaking with him through the phone. There was just one spot, one antenna left in the city where you can actually have the mobile network. And now I think even that part is not working. So it's terrible what Russia is doing here. They're like, the Putin is like Adolf Hitler and his army like a Nazi. They have this Z symbol, it's like a modern type of swastika, and they are killing civilians. They have, they have launched missiles to schools, opera houses. Oh my God! Even Nazis were not doing this stuff here in Ukraine. I spoke to the elderly people, very old people, let's say, and they say that in Kharkiv, Nazis never bombed the hospitals. That is what Russia is doing. They're bombing the hospitals. That's why. Oh my God, I hate them. I really hate them. It is my country. It is Ukraine. So I can honestly say that I hate them, and I'm sure we will win. About the recent events, last night I saw the news that some of the rockets were launched from Iran territory and they hit the US facilities, some kind of US council on Iraq territory. So I thought it could bring us to some war. Also, United States with Iran, but nothing happened so far. So US reaction was quite light for that, and everything so far didn't escalate there. We don't need more conflicts on this planet. The Ukraine still takes the front pages of newspapers and everywhere. Because it's the hot spot on our planet, and my country is a hot spot, quite bad. About situation in my hometown near Kiev, everything is okay. However, my parents are there and they heard the loud bangs. They are quite distant from the city, but they're coming closer and closer. So Russia still offensive. They still want to get the Kiev. but my prediction, they will never have this city occupied because the Kiev is prepared. I saw the pictures of this city. If they want to die, they will go to Kiev. That's what I want to say. Russians, if you don't want to die, don't go to Kiev. If you want to die, go to Kiev. You'll be dead, 100% sure. Yeah, I'll turn it like this because I don't really see the camera. My friends, also I want to thank you for your kind support on Patreon. I don't have any kind of income right now because we stopped flying, and you are the ones who support me and my family. And of course, part of the money I donate to support our army. I already donated, and the next month I'm gonna donate this money to support the kids who lost their parents, and lost their parents in the war. So the next Patreon donations on the next month, I'll put the money for the charity. Not all of the money, because I also need to leave, but part of the money goes for the charity. So thank you so much for your kind support, my friends. And this part of the video will be so we finish with the news, terrible news that are happening, but my countries were fighting them hard here. Next, go to the history, the storytelling, how I became a pilot. There's the video on my channel, my way to become a pilot, but in this part I'll probably split the information about my way into several stages. And today I'm going to speak about the early steps from getting the private pilot license and getting a commercial pilot license, how I did it. My way was very interesting, my friends. So on some of the live stream, I told that I'm from the aviation family, and even my grandpa was flying on Antonov 12 in Soviet army. Actually, he was not bombing anyone. He was flying on a spy plane, Antonov 12, equipped with some surveillance equipment. My grandpa's daughter, so my mother, used to be the flight attendant, and my father used to be the engineer, the aviation ground engineer. So we were living in Tashkent for a long time, even though I'm from Ukraine. But after Soviet Union collapse, we stayed where we were left after this, everything, all the countries that were in the Soviet Union collapse. So we were in Tashkent actually by that time. So we stayed there. Actually, I spent all of my childhood in Tashkent. I was going to Crimea every summer because I'm from Crimea myself. And after a while, then I turned 15 years old. My mother and father decided to go back to Ukraine, and they started. So before they worked for Aeroflot, that was the only airline in USSR. After Soviet Union collapse, they changed for Uzbekistan Airways, and after I turned 15, they went to Aerosvit Airlines, and my mother continued to fly as a flight attendant, and my father turned to some management position. But we still hadn't had enough money for the pilot training, because the pilot training is very, very expensive, and it's getting more and more expensive nowadays. And I was realizing I wanted to be a pilot all my life, but I was realizing that probably it's something unreal, But then I turned like 16. I asked my mother, do you think I can be a pilot? And she said, well, if I liked to be a pilot, if I would like, they would support me. But they say maybe it's better to go, to some IT or something, some programming that is expanding even nowadays. And I say, no, I don't like to spend a lot of time with computers. I want to fly the airplanes. And they supported me, so I went. So first, what you need to do, you need to go to your medical. I have many of the comments asking me, If the color blind, okay for flying. If wearing spectacles, okay for flying. Depends on your country, my friends. Here in Ukraine, everything is okay with spectacles, but not okay with the color blind issues. So you need, firstly, what I did, you need to go for medical examination, but not to the local hospital. You need to find the air medical facility and have the certification after it. So there are several levels, like level 3, level 2, and level 1. Sorry, not levels, but classes. And you need to pass for class 1 medical to have the right to fly as a commercial pilot. If you're a flight attendant, you can pass for lower class, but still have your job. So I went, and they say that I had some problems inside my nose with this, the board that splits the part of the nose left and right, and it should be corrected with surgery. And I say, oh, is it that severe? And they say to me in air medical that, yeah, it is that severe, and you need to fix it. Okay, I went for the surgery. It took like 1 week to get out from the hospital after it. Not a pleasant procedure, I would say, but still okay. I would say that I got I got it well, this surgery, and actually it helped me in my normal life because I was, sneezing sometimes without any kind of reason, and my sleep during the night improved, gradually improved, and yeah, I just felt better, and even then I got some cold. It's now going with less severe, let's say, nose leaking, etc. So if you have these issues with this, the border, I know how to say it in English, the border between this part of the nose, you need to fix it. If you look at your nose, it can be straight, but inside, if you do the X-ray, you'll see that it can be bended a little bit. So they remove part of it, broken, and put everything upright. So I'm really happy that I did this surgery. It improved my life actually. And after that, I passed the medical again, and there are two of the facilities where you can actually become a pilot here in Ukraine. Still, you need to have the bachelor degree or college degree to be employed in airline. That applies also for the flight attendants. I don't know why we have this so far in our country, but still we have it from what I know. Yes, you can go to your private lessons, obtain the frozen TPL, commercial TPL, but you will not find the job in the airline without the bachelor degree or college degree. It's about my country only. If we speak about the United States, if you go to Southwest Airline, they do not require bachelor degree. If you want to apply to United American, they requires this kind of degree, college degree, bachelor degree. So you need to think about it up front. So what I did, there were two ways. One to apply for National Aviation University, which is in Kiev, and the other way to go to Kropivnitsky. It's quite far away, around maybe 350 kilometers away from Kiev. And there is the academy that it was really, and it is really popular facility to train pilots. So there's the academy. So they both provide with bachelor degree, both of the facilities, but I choose the closest for me, which is in Kiev, so National Aviation University. And by the time I applied there, they just started to prepare pilots. So they actually prepare more engineers than pilots. So we have the subjects. Then I applied there. I passed the screening. It was very interesting because they just opened this faculty for pilots, and they had 12 places from the budget. So we actually were, I wasn't paying for my degree. My country paid for it. It's a great plus for Ukraine. Actually, they pay for you, but they didn't pay for the flight hours. But for theory, they paid. and so I didn't spend a penny for my training, for my studying in National Aviation University. And they had like 12 places from the budget from the government, but actually only 11 people came for that position. Just imagine, like, no any competition, and we were taken. All of us were taken for the position, and it was nice. We started our studying, but during the studying, some of the guys, they realized that they don't really need this position, and some of them, some of my group neighbors, they, I don't know why they even came to study there. It seems like they were hiding, not hiding, but they didn't want the army to take them to the army, because we have this law: if everything is okay with your health, you will be taken to serve for the army. But if you study in some kind of university, you are temporarily postponed to be as a servant in the army. So yeah, for me, I didn't pass the medical for the army, so they didn't take me. I didn't care about it, and I continued to study for that position. And around 5 guys from my faculty, they actually disappeared at some point. They didn't want to study. They were very lazy. Yeah, it's very, very strange. So probably they didn't like this profession, or they didn't see the outcome, because the government, they paid just for theory, but to become a pilot actually need flight hours, and the government, they didn't have the money for the time. So there were no any perspectives to become real pilots while we were studying. And actually, there were some of the guys from the Gambia. They joined our faculty to become pilots, so they paid their own money. Also, some of the guys came from the military academy from the Kharkiv, actually, to become. They changed their mind. They want to become commercial pilots rather than the military, and I can totally understand them. And after the first year of studying there, I realized that I don't really like this university. I don't really see the perspective for me to become a pilot there, because there's no enough funds. Maybe the funds were delivered to university, but they went somewhere, and I didn't. If you ask me whether you need to join National Aviation University, I would say no. Probably it's better to go abroad and study and fly there. Honestly, my friends, I didn't like this facility after all, and it's just a corrupted place. Honestly, it is. There were some of the teachers who are awesome. Some of them are fantastic, but in general, the system, I don't know about now, because I studied in 2005, 2006, long time ago, but by that time it was really corrupted place. And from what I see now on TV, then some of the chiefs of this university, sometimes they are arrested for the bribes, etc. So I think it is still very corrupted. So I would recommend probably to join the facility, the training facility outside, and have the other degree, not the pilot degree, but some kind of bachelor degree in other sort and other field rather than aviation, or maybe in other university. So you will have your pilot license or frozen ATPL, and you have your college degree somewhere else, and that is also good for you, because if something will go wrong with aviation, you still have your degree in other field that may help you to be employed somewhere else. So I would recommend like that. But our faculty was focused just on pilot training, and we had all the subjects that engineers had. So actually, I have the pilot-engineer in my diploma from National Aviation University. And the first year was terrible, no perspectives, nothing. And I met my group mate who went to the local air club, and he started to work there as a technician, and they let him to fly there on Yakovlev 52. It's actually aerobatic plane, but that air club, they also had the flight training organization certificate to train the pilots for private pilot license. And I say, "Wow, I also want to join." And I asked my group, I asked him if they need also the guys who would work as maintenance guys to do some kind of dirty jobs, not only maintenance for planes, but to clean everything, you know. And he said, no, not for now, but later on, like in 1 week, he said that they have the big form on Antonov 28 that is used for skydiving, and they need the guys temporary to unscrew all these bolts on the airplane, to oil everything, to inspect. So they actually this my group mate Artem, I hope you see me here. So he actually brought me to Chaika Air Club, and I was really happy actually to touch the airplane almost the first time in my life as the maintenance guy, And after that, I was hired actually in our club. I asked to stay there. I asked the chief to stay there, and let's say, okay, you'll stay for 1 winter in Chaika, but later they moved me to Buzawa Air Club. I was really disappointed because I want to fly on Yakovlev 52 aerobatic flights as Artem did in Chaika, but they moved me to Buzawa Air Club, and I was really upset with that because the Buzawa Air Club is the club for gliders. And what what are the gliders? Why do I need gliders? I want to fly Boeing 737 in the future, Airbus or something. I hate these gliders. Why should I move there? But they say that they have enough maintenance guys on Chaika, so I need to move to Buzawa, which is like 15 kilometers away. Actually, that place was bombed just recently by Russian aggressors. And I don't know what has happened to Buzawa Air Club, actually. Probably in future we'll discover with you. And I went there during the next summer. I had no any flights, nothing. I was just doing some dirty job. That's it. But they moved me to Buzawa, and there I saw the gliders. I didn't really understand how they are flying, what are they doing, why do people like the gliders, until actually I flown the one, and it is the best flying experience that I have ever had, my friends. Even compared to Boeing 737, my friends, flying on glider is the best thing that you can experience, I think, in aviation. Well, maybe paraglider could be better because you actually fly like with no any kind of construction around you, with no cockpit. You're flying on your own, but it is kind of dangerous compared to gliders. On a glider, you fly like a bird. You use these airflows to gain the altitude, and you go to other. Wow, I loved it, my friends, and I miss it because I'm a family guy, and I that requires lots of funds from your budget, and my daughter is growing, so I don't want to take the money from my family and fly gliders again because that is very expensive kind of sport. And but I like it with all my heart. I've flown Blanik L13, the Checkmate glider, and it is fantastic. I didn't pay for it. I just work as a maintenance guy, and I've flown the gliders, but I still want to fly airplanes because in that way I can fly aircraft, and I can also earn some money for families. So now I can just spend the money without any kind of earnings. But I want to become a pilot. I want to be a commercial pilot. That's why I asked the chief of the air club, can I fly the airplane Yakovlev? But he said, oh, we have Vilga certified for the pilot training. You can fly Vilga. You can continue your job and fly on Vilga V35, which is Poland-made tail dragger, we call them. Then we have two big landing gear on the front and one on the tail, and we call it tail dragger, which is actually the Vilga is STOL, short takeoff and landing performance airplane, and it can really take off from very short spots. It has the powerful radial engine, and also on some of the airplanes, the engine from Yakovlev was put, so 100 horsepower more. So the stock engine is 260 horsepower, but the Yakovlev engine is 360 horsepower. Crazy. And yeah, I was flying Volga. Basically, we were towing the airplanes, gliders. But after a while, I had also some of the routine flights just to sign them in my logbook. And actually, I got my PPL in 2 years working as a technician. And I was continue flying, working for 3 years in Buzova. And then I turned close to 20, and then I was getting closer to the first grade of National Aviation University. Realized that I'm losing my chances to have the CPL, the commercial pilot license, because still National Aviation University, they hadn't had enough funds to provide the commercial pilot training for our people there, for our future pilots. Finally, they got that money, but without me, because I just shut the door and I got my bachelor degree from National Aviation. And on the 5th grade, I changed actually to Kropyvnytsky State Flight Academy, because there were some of the chances to get the commercial pilot license on Antonov 2, Antonov 26, Let 410, and yeah, still you need to pay, but I went for the master's degree there, so I spent 1 year and a half. But my last year, I also flown in Urga Airlines. By that time, in Ukraine, you actually could fly in airline for your commercial pilot training. Yeah, it's crazy, but that regulation allow us to do so, allowed. Now you cannot do it. So I went to local airline, which is cargo airline. You are not flying with passengers there. And I paid for the base training on Antonov 26. I got also simulator training. Actually, the simulator training was sponsored from the State Flight Academy. And I went for flying. And the base training was crazy. Like, I got the worst instructor possible. He was screaming. And after the base training, I was like shocked, because it was my first flying on twin engine airplane. I was shocked. This Antonov 26 is not really a simple airplane. It's very complex. You have 4 people in a cockpit, captain, first officer, engineer, and also navigator. So, and the instructor was yelling all the flight. And at some point, I just released the yoke, I released the pedals, and he was like controlling the airplane all the time. He didn't let me to fly the plane. By that time, he was screaming, "Oh, turn left, turn right, no, no, no!" Like, and then I released everything. He was like flying the plane and yelling on his own. Very funny. And at that point, after that flight, I realized that wow, it's so hard. But actually, I just needed a different instructor. And after a while, then during next flying for line training, then I went to fly in Atatürk Airport. We were flying from Atatürk to Athens almost every night. I had wonderful instructor who let me do everything, and that is the moment I felt this airplane, and that's the time that I really like to fly this big twin engine. Well, compared to Vilga, that plane was really big. Antonov 26, it is kind of big airplane. So we were delivering post from Turkey to Greece and from Greece to Turkey. Very interesting flying, and I like that a lot. And I decided, yeah, I will be a pilot for sure. But after a while, I graduated from the State Flight Academy, and I also applied for commercial pilot license. But it was the year 2009, just after this big crisis in 2008. There was no job available. So before 2008, there were lots of opportunities to become pilot here in Ukraine, but after that, not many. And I was really lucky to find my first job. But we'll speak about it later, my friends, in the next video probably, because I have many things to tell you about. Actually, I was flying in Russia too, for the training only. And we're gonna speak about it as well in the next video. My friends, again, thank you for your kind support on Patreon. Thank you for your support watching this video. Thank you for support by liking it, by subscribing to my channel. Thank you for staying with me, because I'm not providing the nice content to you that you probably like, and I just provide these podcasts, just speaking to you about the situation now we have, the situation I'm in, and yeah, just some storytelling about my life. I'm not sure if it's interesting for you, but it could be helpful. And yeah, just forgot throughout this story, the money, that I spent for the training. Well, for PPL, I spent nothing because I was working as the maintenance guy. For commercial pilot license, I spent around $7,000 for the base training, and for basic needs, then I was flying in just for food, then I was flying in Istanbul. That's it. It was really cheap for me. So I hope it was interesting for you, my friends, and yeah, stay awesome and have a great time. You are great, my friends. You are.